Hello everyone, my name is Hiro. Today I'm showing you my newest REST integration. This REST machine calculates the exponential function of any number with the normal base of e, aka Euler's number. It uses 32-bit floating point and the biggest input is 88, as anything above will create an overflow error. This is sadly also the first machine which accuracy is not how I would like it to be, as with big numbers the accuracy goes down. Anyways, I'll still show you how it works and how it calculates. First, what is the exponential function? The exponential function is basically Euler's number, so e, to the power of the number we input, so x in this case. Unlike squaring or cube or doing cube, it's not x squared or x cubed. The number we input is the power. And we have our base, in this case e. To calculate this, I use the Taylor series right over here, which is 1 plus, and then, yeah, the number we inputted to the power of 1 divided by 1 factorial, x to the power of 2 divided by 2 factorial, and so on. Factorial is basically multiplying all the previous numbers except 0. So the factorial of 2 is 2 times 1, which is 2, then the factorial of, let's say, 4 is 4 times 3 times 2, and theoretically times 1, that doesn't matter. So I use this, and to get the right accuracy for 32-bit floating point, which is 7 to 8 decimals, I do this up to 14. Now the problem here is x has a limit. To have this accuracy and to have the result be right and not some, I don't know, random result, x has following restrictions. It has to be 1 or greater than 1, and it's not allowed to be 2, it has to be between those. So 1, so it can be 1, but it must be smaller than 2, so it can theoretically be 1.9999999. So how to calculate this in floating point? This is where we also get our inaccuracy, but till a later point where I find better methods and such, I'll leave it like this. So basically here we have our normal floating point number. We have 2 to the power of our exponent times our mantissa times our sign, which can be 1 or minus 1. And now we basically change this to this, e to the power of m. M, or the mantissa, is perfectly like this. It's always smaller than 2 and minimum 1. So we just insert m, or the mantissa, as x and calculate the exponential function of m using the Taylor series. And then we come to this part. In this part we have the exponent, and we basically square the result that we get from here as many times as the exponent. So if the exponent is 3, we square this 3 times. So square this once, like for example if the result here would be 2, then we'd square it once, and we have 4. We square it again, we have 16, and we square it again, we have, yeah. And then if the sign is negative, then we just need to do to the power of minus 1, or or easier, we just do 1 divided by the result by the previous results. The exponential function itself is very useful for mathematics and all kinds of sciences, but which in my opinion is most useful for in this case is this. We can do all the exponential function, so Euler's number times to the power of the natural logarithm of x, and then that times y, which is basically the same thing as x to the power of y. But this is an easy way to calculate, like x to the power of a decimal number like 2.5, or just do any big numbers like x to the power of, I don't know, 60. And it will always take almost the same steps and almost the same time. So now I'll show you how the machine works. So here we are next to the machine, which you just saw in the time lapse calculated something. In this case it calculated e to the power of 11, which is quite a big number, 550,000 something, I don't know. And yeah, as you saw in the algorithm in the Taylor series before, we've started off basically by basically having a multiplier down here who does all the steps of like all the powers of x. Every time at the beginning it does 1 times x, we enter x back here. Then it does the result times x, and then the result of times x, and each clock cycle it will give us the next power. So in the first one x to the power of 1, next one x to the power of 2, and so on and so on. Now it goes up here, and it goes into this divider over here, which is all that long thing over here. So this is the divider, this down here is the multiplier, which reaches all the way back here. Then it goes through the divider as the top slot, and here I have a lookup table, which gives us the outputs of all the factorials. So up to factorial 14, which is a giant number in the end, but still doable in 32-bit floating point. This gets saved in these registers, and the result of gets saved in this register for the multiplier. Then we go up here, and that result goes up here and gets added to itself the whole time. In the beginning it has 1 saved into the register over here, and then it just gets added the whole time with itself and the result of the divider. It does that each clock cycle till it reaches 14. Then there's a multiplexer over here, a demultiplexer over here, and instead of continuing this, it opens a NOR latch, not a NOR latch, a NOR read function over here. So the signal from these can go in here, and it starts to square the number, or if our exponent, so if our number that we entered is smaller than 1, it will do the square root of it, because we have 2 to the power of minus something, and which is basically, instead of squaring because it's negative, we just do the square root of it. So we here have the same multiplier again. Here I have a square root, which is, by the way, a new square design, not the same one as in the FPU. So it goes through here. It already knows the sign, if it's negative or not, and then here's a demultiplexer over here, and down. The second thing is down here at the square root machine, and then it just then the exponent goes through these, goes into this clock, where it counts each clock cycle, and as soon as it reached how many times it had to square or do the square root, this signal goes on. It goes over here, and then reads the result through this. This is here it has input 1 and the number over here, and it can also just change positions. So either if it's a normal number like this, it will just do divided by 1 and give us the result over the up here, or if the number we entered is negative, so let's say e to the power of -2, then it will switch these around and does 1 divided by the final result we got. All this is powered by this clock, which takes around 1 minute to fire each time. The whole thing can take from 23 minutes up to 30 minutes, depending on how big the number is, and even longer if your computer can't handle it and you have massive tech lag. God save you. So yeah, that is basically how the machine works. Here again the final divider. Here the multiplier. Same as down below over here. Here the square root, which is quite high. Then here the divider. And yeah. The divider is the slowest machine here. The multiplier probably the fastest. The square root is kind of medium, I would say. And yeah, that's basically how the machine works. How to use it is we have our input over there. So we just fly over here. Here we enter our number. It can also enter 0 and then the result will be 1, or we can enter 1 and the result will be our last number. Here we just change the levers to our desired floating point number. Then we move over here. In the meantime, it will already calculate the very first step. And if it already calculated something, then we should also reset it, which you do like this, by moving over here, flipping this lever, and then pressing this button. This will reset all the registers to its normal states, and it will reset both the counters for the Taylor series and for the squaring and such. After we press that, and go down here again, we just need to undo the lever. And then we can just go over here and press the start button over here. I'm not gonna do that right now because I don't want massive lag at the moment while recording. This will also reset, but that doesn't matter. It can do that while this already starts calculating. Yeah, this is basically the whole machine. We'll download this in the description, and thanks for watching.